Hello, and welcome to another episode of Josie's Paradise. So, I haven't uploaded a video in a very long time, and it's mainly because the weather here has just been absolute rubbish. So, we're talking about like torrential rain, cyclones, wind, and it's just been impossible for me. I feel like I haven't been in the garden for 6 months because that's how bad the weather's been and for how long. So just giving you a bit of an update of where my garden is at. Everything's getting very overgrown and wild because we haven't really been able to get outside and maintain it. But I don't know, I think it's actually looking pretty good considering. So if you're new to my channel, I basically just make videos about how myself in a little suburban home tries to live as sustainably as possible. And for me, sustainability is about wasting as little as possible and growing as much food as I can on my own. So this is my garden, this is my backyard. As you can see, we're actually very lucky to have a substantially large backyard for a suburb. My suburb that I live in, a lot of the old houses with big blocks and big backyards and gardens are being sold, bought, knocked down, and having 6 units, 6 tiny little homes built on the block. So a lot of homes like this where you have the opportunity to create a big garden are just disappearing. So we consider ourselves very lucky. So what I'm going to do today is just run you through a dumpster dive haul that I did, part of my mission to reduce landfill waste and waste in general, food waste particularly, and show you what it is I do with the food that I pull out of a dumpster, keeping in mind that it's just me and my husband, so I don't actually need a lot of food, but I try to salvage as much as I can so that as little waste is being generated as possible. But to get started, I thought maybe I'll show you how Pete's going. I don't know if you remember Pete from a previous video. We rescued him from a tiny little cage, and here he is. Say hello, Pete. He's got this thing where he goes into that corner and he pulls at the metal at the base. I don't know. I think it was something that he picked up from when he was living in his small cage. He used to do that. So I don't know, now that he has this big cage, he still does it. So, yeah. So I'm not going to stay in here for very long because I think Pete is a little bit stressed at the moment. Do you hear that tapping he's doing? I don't know for sure, but I suspect that's like an anxiety thing, like he's anxious at the moment. So I'm not going to stay here for very long. I just wanted to show you, this is his little seed bowl. That's the kind of seed that we give him, but we try to give him as much of a varied diet as possible. Yeah, we try to vary his diet because it's not good for cockatoos just to eat seed all the time. Like if they're in the wild, they're eating a much broader diet than this. So I know this doesn't look the best, but I'm also going to give him a piece of bread because it's not that it provides variety in his diet, it provides him a variety of eating styles. So he'll actually like pick this up and hold it in his hand and take bites out of it. So, and I try to usually get this multi-grain bread, but I didn't have any in the moment, so whole grain will have to do. But he likes to, he likes to just hold it and like take chews out of it, and then he'll just chuck it on the ground. But the bread is more to give him something different, something interesting. And then I also like to give him apples, but the apples I like to do things like put in like a little hole. So he actually like has to climb up and grab it. And then he'll just eat the seeds out of it. So apparently the seeds are not the best for him. So I don't give him apples all the time. It's more like a treat. Like he gets it every now and again. And it's just to create that interest so he doesn't get bored. Yeah, and as you can see, it's a bit flooded in here. It's just been raining, and we actually cleaned this cage 2 days ago, and yeah, it's already quite messy. But I'm going to leave him alone now because I think he's getting quite stressed. All right, see you later, Pete. Bye. This is the first time in months that I've done a dumpster dive, so let's get through it. And of course, my favorite are the flowers. Okay, that was 2 bunches. One was a bunch with lilies. The lilies died, but the carnations were still okay. And the pink roses, I put them together. They look awesome. And I have a bunch of kale. So this kale is not looking very good. I didn't pick this up for myself. I picked it up for my chickens. So a bit of a tip, if you ever pick up anything out of a dumpster and it's a little bit wilted, not looking too good, put it into a cup of water. Okay, so this bunch of kale was all like wilted and but I put it in water overnight and it's now really crispy. Listen to that. So my chickens are going to much prefer this now that it's a bit crispy. I've also washed it in case it's got pesticides and stuff on it. So I'm going to give that to my chicken. And also these strawberries. These strawberries I pulled out. They are not the best. They're all bruised and they're old and they're yucky. I would not eat these, but my chickens love strawberries. So my chickens are getting the kale and the strawberries today. So the other interesting thing that I pulled out, which I haven't pulled out before, are these pots of basil. Now, they're not in very good condition because they were in the dumpster. So I pulled them out anyway because I was like, if anything, I'll be able to use the pots and the soil. And maybe some of the basil is salvageable. So maybe I'll take the basil that's okay, dry it, like air dry it, or maybe use it in a dish tonight or whatever, and then keep the pots and the soil and use that in the garden. The other thing that I pulled out, tomatoes. Going to make these into ketchup. Now, there were heaps of tomatoes in the dumpster. I pulled out 3, and this was probably too much. Like, I'm going to be spending a lot of time making ketchup today with 3 kilos of tomatoes. Like, I don't really use tomatoes for anything else. Might possibly make a pasta sauce, but I've already got pasta sauce in the pantry. So, yeah, we'll see. I might get bored of making ketchup and make pasta sauce. Whatever. Bananas. So, heaps of bananas. Usually I make banana bread, and like I've already got a couple of bananas in a fruit bowl already, but what I'll do is for any of these bananas that go brown before I even get a chance to make them into banana bread, I'll put them in the freezer. Banana bread with frozen bananas is not as good as banana bread with fresh bananas, but it is still bananas. And it's still banana bread. So it works. So whatever I don't use, I'll freeze. Pull this out. There was also lots of pineapple. I got 2. I could have taken more, but honestly, 2 is probably too much for me. So I'll probably cut these up and have them for fruit salad or desserts. Last time I had a pineapple, I actually made up some jelly cups and put slices of pineapple in the jelly and like ate that as a dessert after dinner. It was really quite nice. More tomatoes, but these are like your nice cherry tomato snacking tomatoes. I thought, like, I pulled them out and I thought, oh, they're actually quite decent. I think the reason they were in the dumpster is because I don't think this is a full packet. I think maybe some of them fell out or something, so they just chucked the whole out. I don't know. But yeah, I like these. They're nice with salads and stuff. And English muffins, we like having these for breakfast, and some white bread. Okay, so once again, went to the dumpster, tons of food. They also had lots of pumpkin, lots of cabbage, lots of mandarins. There was a whole bunch of avocados in there, but I checked every single avocado and not one of them was decent enough. They were all squishy. I was like, oh, what a waste. And yeah, just heaps and heaps of food. Like, I got to the dumpster and it was packed to the top. And all I could see was bananas, mandarins, and I had to do a bit of digging, found the tomatoes. I didn't take the cabbage because I already got cabbage. I didn't take the pumpkin because I already had pumpkin. I'm only taking what I feel I need. And honestly, it's just me and my husband. This is actually more than what I need. If there was apples or pears or anything like that, I would have pulled them out and probably given it to the chickens as well. But yeah, food waste, guys, it's a huge problem and there's a lot of it. So if you have been thinking about getting into dumpster diving, give it a go. You'd be surprised of the quality of the food that comes out of it. Like, have a look at these tomatoes. They're still firm. They're still firm. Like, maybe there's a couple of squashed tomatoes at the bottom that I can't see, but they're in plastic, so I probably won't need to wash them that much. Like, it's just crazy the amount of food that gets thrown away. So have a go if it is something that you've been thinking about. Okay, so I just went through the basil and yeah, unfortunately not much of it was salvageable. I got some there that's in decent condition, but it's really borderline. So I think I've decided that I will make my own pasta sauce and use this basil as well as some of the tomatoes that I got to make the pasta sauce. Maybe even a pizza sauce. I've never made pizza sauce, but I'm sure there's a recipe out there somewhere. This bowl is just plant scraps, like some of the roses and that fell off and that from last night's haul. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this in my compost as well as all this soil from here, and I'm going to keep the pots because I do a lot of cuttings. I grow a lot of cuttings and that sort of thing from my garden, so these pots always come in handy. And then I'm going to get rid of the plastic, of course, and yeah. So this is my potting station that I have out the back. It's in a bit of disarray at the moment because I haven't been able to get out here that often because of the rain and the wind. But underneath, as you can see, the table that I work on is mesh, so that anything that spills, like soil or anything like that, falls into this little bucket I have underneath here. And yeah, any of my plant deaths or, anything, I don't know, just leftover soil, plant material, everything gets chucked in there. So I'm going to put this in here. So those are the scraps. And I'm just going to chuck all the dirt from the basil in here. And if you're wondering who's making that noise, that is my chickens, which you can't see. I don't know. They've run away. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to keep those pots. They're going to go up here somewhere. Yeah, I'll put them in the bucket. And whenever I need to pot anything up, I'll use those pots. Ah, there they are. Cheeky girls. So just back in the chicken pen, I've got those strawberries as well as some pear, like an old pear that I just cut up, and a couple of pieces of bread. And I've already thrown in the kale. Girls don't really seem interested. They probably want the bread. So here we go. And I actually have like this little, I don't know I don't know what this is, but it's been soaked in rain. That's how much it's rained. And I usually just like to chuck the strawberries and the fruits in here because don't know if you can notice, even though we've got straw down, there is chicken poo everywhere, and I'm just a little bit conscious about the girls eating where they poo. I don't know if that's a thing that they have to worry about, but I don't know. It has been very rainy and wet, so I haven't really let these girls out. So I'm just trying to supplement their diet as much as possible with a variety of foods. And that's a good thing about dumpster diving, is a lot of the food was just going to get chucked out and wasted anyway. So at least these girls get a meal out of it. Num num num. They always like the bread. They always go for the bread first. Yeah. Pete's being very sociable today. So, what do you got to say for us, Pete? Huh?
Hello.
Oh, hello. Do you want an apple? I can get you an apple. Ooh. You showing off? See you later, mate. Yeah, so you know how most people just use these bags and then throw them away? I actually wash mine and hang them up to dry. That's how much I despise waste. I will even reuse plastic grocery bags. Okay, so I just wanted to conclude my video today by showing you what I actually ended up making from my dumpster dive haul. So what you can see here is out of the 3 kilos of tomatoes, I made a jar of pasta sauce. So it's what I've done is I've reused an old pasta sauce jar, and instead of taking the label off and putting my own label on it, I just kept the old label on there because I've only just put pasta sauce back in there. But I have put the date that I made it so I can still remember that it's a handmade pasta sauce. And I've also got 3 jars and one particularly bigger jar of tomato sauce or tomato ketchup, whatever you want to call it, and 4 tomatoes left over. So as you can see, these were the tomatoes that I got out of those packs. They're not old, they're not crinkly, they're really quite firm and fresh. So I was quite surprised. Out of the 3 packets of tomatoes, I only had to throw away 2 because they were squashed, and they were probably squashed from being thrown in the dumpster. So just goes to show that like the quality of the food that we're actually throwing away, it's just ridiculous. From the 2 pineapples, I decided not to use them straight away. I figured that pineapple was something that I'd more want to eat in the summer, not the winter. So I cut up 1 pineapple into small pieces and 1 into larger pieces. So I had a bit of a choice. So they were 1 pineapple each, and I'll put them in the freezer. These are already frozen, but I just pulled them out to show you. And I'll keep them in the freezer until I need them. Like this would be really good on like pizza or, having a fried rice or a stir fry or something like that. Whereas this, I don't know, probably chuck into a smoothie or whatever, cocktails. And the other things that I have, I forgot to put these in my first video. I also pulled out a head of broccoli and a bunch of, what do you call these? Shallots or green onions. So as you can see, this broccoli is not the best condition. So I'll probably cook this tonight in a chicken stir fry with the shallots. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of good food is being thrown out that can be reused. And if you're good in the kitchen, there's a lot of things that you can make yourself and store yourself, and it's a lot better for you because you don't have all the added salt and additives that they put in it. Yeah, it's just, it still blows me away the amount of food that our society throws away, and that there's still people out there that are worried about inflation and scared that there's going to be food shortages because, you know, gas prices are going up and trucks are not going to be transporting the food. Honestly, from what I've seen, I don't think running out of food is an issue our society has to deal with. We have plenty of food. We just need to learn how to use it properly, honestly. But that's my 2 cents. So I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'm going to try and post more regularly, but it all depends on the weather and whether I can get out into the garden or not. It's been really, it hasn't been the best lately. So we'll see how we go. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the notifications button so that you will be notified when I do release another video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.